Hey, I am Lola. I've recently broken off a friendship with a former friend. Her name is Angie, and she used to be such a sweetheart that loved to have fun and joke around. But before I get into the story, I want to get into the background first. Around age 13, I started my first year in junior high. I was that girl with brown hair, with a bob cut, and brown eyes that loved to wear jeans with my Mickey Mouse shirt all the time. It was scary at first, because I wasn't good at making friends, and I was scared all the time when my sister wasn't with me. It took a while for me to get comfortable with my school life, but regardless of my fears, I knew that my fraternal twin and I would always stick together because we are best friends and always will be. About a month into the school year, I decided to make the best of the year by getting amazing grades in my classes to impress my parents and teachers, especially my classmates. I became so confident in myself that I made my first friend. Let's call him Handsome, because he also became my first actual boyfriend. Then I started making more friends. I met Angie through another friend named Kate. The three of us would always hang out together during our classes and our lunches when my sister had the opposite lunch. Angie was the type of girl that loved to wear sweatpants all the time with some colorful shirts with her light brown and grayish eyes to coordinate together. Kate's had a similar style, but loved always coordinating flowers to her look with her pretty curly brown hair and brown eyes. We were the ordinary group that loved talking about topics like crushes, anime, music, teachers, and other students. Until close to the end of the year, Kate had to change schools because she was moving to another state. So it was me and Angie left in the group. We kept on being good friends until there came a huge surprise for me. Around our junior year, her behavior changed when she started dating boys. I was happy for her when she started dating one of my other former friends. His name is Andy, and we had the same wildlife biology class together. Also, he was really good friends with Handsome. He and Angie would always sit with me and Handsome during our lunches. Even whenever my teacher gave us work, we would help each other out for a bit and talk about how things are with him and Angie. I would always need to make sure that Angie was in the right hands, because she would usually end up in the wrong hands and end up being hurt. Usually, her relationships would end due to constant arguing with her boyfriends and deeper reasons. When Angie does get into these breakups, she would Snapchat me about how much she hates her exes and blame innocent people for the breakups. It started getting emotionally draining when she started complaining about her exes and talking bad on my friends. But I tried to justify her behavior to myself, because maybe she was going through a difficult situation with family besides the breakups. So I ignored her bad behavior. Then, one time, when it was my lunch break, I was sitting with Handsome, Andy, and Angie at our favorite lunch table. Andy was just joking around and acting goofy as usual. Then suddenly, she decides to slap him in the face, hard. Handsome and I were shocked, because it looked painful. I confronted her about the smack to Andy, and she started screaming at me really loud that most of the people were looking at our table. It was embarrassing. So Handsome and I decided to leave the table to get away from the screaming. Then, later that day, Handsome tells me in a text after school that Angie wants us to hang out with Andy and her on her birthday. We decided to accept the invite so we would be able to hang out together. Then came Angie's birthday. Andy was driving us to a bowling alley to where we were going to celebrate her birthday. The entire time, Angie didn't even speak to me. She was angry on her happy day. She didn't even celebrate and complained the entire time to Andy. Otherwise, I still had a lot of fun with Handsome. It's always a blast when we're hanging out together. It was about 2 weeks after her birthday. I would send casual hellos on text, and she doesn't respond to me. I was so confused about why she was treating me so badly. Even seeing her in person, when I gave one of my hugs, she wouldn't hug me back. I even asked this question, "Is something up? What's wrong?" She didn't say anything to me. Later that day, Handsome tells me during our lunch that Angie thinks that I like Andy. But he doesn't believe that I like Andy because we've been together for about 4 years since the 7th grade, and he knows I love him. Besides, I was good friends with him, but I wasn't in love. But when I was going to text Andy about why Angie thought I had feelings for him, I found out that Angie blocked me from Andy's account. That was my breaking point. Quickly, I texted Angie and decided to cut ties with her, and blocked her. I felt free, but sad at the same time, because she blocked me back. But the story doesn't end here. It was about a month and a half since we didn't talk. I would always get sad around her, because she was a dear friend of mine. Taking a deep breath, I decided to type an apology message to keep the peace, because I missed being friends with her, even though she started the issue. Handsome sends the message to Andy, since I didn't have any contact with any of them, so that he could forward the message to Angie. Later that day, Angie unblocks me, but she wouldn't let me talk to Andy, because I found out she is possessive. I wasn't the only one she wouldn't let Andy talk to, but his other friends also. For about a week of trying to patch this friendship, I decided to give up on trying, because she didn't care about me, by not talking to me and talking trash about me to Handsome. I was furious. Yeah, I know we had a texting war, and that's not how this situation should have been handled. But I was more shocked when Andy got in the middle by contacting me through Handsome and started defending Angie, and saying that she has changed and she is good to him. That fight resorted to losing Andy as my friend. After that fight, I was sobbing under my blankets, and left confused about the whole situation that led up to the fighting. It's been 3 months now. I've been focusing more on my hobbies, like hiking more with my sisters, crocheting, and talking to my other friends. I recently got my learner's permit from the DMV, and I'm going to become a senior in high school after summer is over to start fresh. If there was a lesson to learn from this, don't hesitate to break off a toxic friendship, and don't stay. It's better to focus on the people that love and care about you than ones that don't.
Hi, my name is Blaze, and this story is about my dog. Let's start from the beginning. So my dog Rocky, he was pretty old. He had the perfect home, big yard, lots of food, nice owners before we adopted him. He came from an abusive family, so he would never lick us and wag his tail or like us to give him hugs. To begin with, no serious problems, except for a little arthritis. But one day, no problems turned into many. Rocky was trying to stand up but couldn't. Every time he did, he would fall over into anything nearby. So we called the vet, and they said there was something wrong with his balance. And they said if it happened again, bring him in. But a few days passed and he was better. But then he had another episode where he kept crashing into things. And when I came over to give him water, I could tell. I looked in his eyes, and he knew he was ready. Later that day, we took him to the vet, and they asked us if we should put Rocky down. And we asked her, if he was your dog, would you put him down? And she said yes. So me and my mom rushed over to the vet, and Rocky was laying there on a blanket, his head on my brother's lap. I held his paw the whole time when the vet came in with a syringe. I knew it was time. We watched him take a last breath, and everything stopped. We all cried. We had him for a while, and we still miss him. I've grown up. I've been oblivious to many sad things. But this was the first time where something hit me hard, like not having your umbrella in a thunderstorm.
Hello, everyone. This story is about me and my best friend. I was in 4th grade when this happened, and I was friends with my best friend for 2 years, and we had just moved into upper elementary. We were so excited to get a new schedule and meet new people. We went to a morning and aftercare program every day before and after school. We met new friends that went to the program every morning before school. They were twins, and they were so cool. We played every morning together, but the twins and my best friend became sort of enemies. They didn't like each other. But I decided I still wanted to be their friend because, honestly, they were popular and people started to recognize me. We played a lot and sat together whenever we got that chance. At this point, me and my best friend had some problems, but I tried to ignore them because my new friends were popular. One morning before school, she told me to come sit with her, and the twins got offensive. They started arguing and told me that I had to choose between them or my best friend. I hesitated, but I chose my new friends. I stopped talking to her and only talked to my new best friends. They thought they won me over and always said mean things about her. I honestly felt bad for leaving her for people I only knew for about a month or two, but I acted like I agreed with them because I felt powerless. Things kept going like that for a while. One day, I was sitting at the counter with my mom and my little sister. My sister already knew about what was happening in school since I had told her about it. When my mom asked why she hasn't been seeing me and my best friend talk, my little sister told my mom that we weren't friends anymore. I felt awkward because I never really talked to my mom about specific things in school, and she most likely wasn't expecting to hear that. So my mom asked me why, and I just shrugged it off and told her it was nothing, that we were still friends. I knew I was lying, and I thought about my situation and what I was doing. I thought it was all so dumb. I missed her. She was my best friend, not the twins I just met. They weren't there for me when I was feeling down, when I had questions, when I wanted to talk about serious things. She was always there for me. So I decided that when I see them in school again, I would tell them I want to be her friend again. So that's exactly what I did when I saw them. They weren't happy with it, but they didn't stop me. I talked to my real best friend and we made up after a week or two, and now our 6th-year anniversary of being best friends is coming up. I want to tell you that being friends with someone just because they're popular and ditching your other friends, especially your best friend, it isn't a good idea. I think that in my case I was lucky because not everyone wants to be your friend again if you ditch them for someone else. It's been about 3 years since that incident, and me and the twins are still friends up until middle school. We aren't enemies though, and thank you for hearing my story. I hope you don't make the same mistake as me. Please, write what you think in the comments. If you have the same situation, send us your story. Write it or record it. As a professional voiceover actor, we'll record your story and share it. Subscribe, like, and share this video with your friends.